Some viewers may find the following video disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hello everybody, my name is Rory Nance, and as you may have scanned that little QR code right there, it may or may not have brought you to this little website called youtube.com. And for today's video, I'm going to be presenting to you what a yellow fever is by, oh hey look, that's me. Alright, so, so basically this video is pretty just straightforward as it is. I'm just going to be explaining what yellow fever is, its history, and that's about it, yeah. Now, while I transition through these slides, Editor Me will be putting up some funny images so I can increase your attention span. Editor Me, take it away. Alright, so, since we are here, and yes, you may have noticed, if you didn't check out my little artifact there, you're probably wondering, what is yellow fever? Well, luckily for you, I'm here to explain it. Yellow fever is a virus that presumably originates from Africa and has spread throughout the world, from South America to certain parts of Asia. As of March 2025, there is no cure for yellow fever, but it can be prevented via vaccine. Yearly, it is estimated there are roughly 200,000 cases and 30,000 cases of deaths. Yellow fever was discovered all the way back in the 1600s, but humanity didn't do anything about it until the late 1800s with the Spanish-American War was taking place. So yeah, I will be going over those two in the next few slides, so don't you worry about it. And in case you're wondering, here is what yellow fever looks like under a microscope. Alright, so now that we have a little introduction to what yellow fever is, what animal does it come from? Because, well, all of these viruses have to come from something. So, where does it come from and how does it spread? Well, the one and only insect to spread the deadly disease is none other than, well, a mosquito. More specifically, Aedes aegypti. This guy, right here on the right. They live in tropical and temperate environments, which explains why they live in Asia and Africa. This species came from Africa, but due to what I like to call Mother Nature coincidence from the New World slave trade, Aedes aegypti had boarded the boats and now live in the said environments. Alright, and according to researchers, the mosquitoes themselves only go for primate blood, such as monkeys and us humans. This means you don't have to worry about your pets having a chance of getting infected, so yeah, don't worry about Sprinkles, she'll be just fine. This disease is only transmittable from said mosquitoes, so human to human infection does not occur. However, it is still advised to not interact with those who are infected. As you should, because, I mean, let's be honest, would you really want to be in the same room as a sick person? Alright, so now that we know where it comes from, I know y'all are probably begging the question, what are the symptoms? Not pleasant, I'll tell you that. Symptoms of yellow fever can vary depending on the cases someone has. Mild symptoms, yes, there are two cases. There are mild and extreme symptoms. Mild symptoms include headaches, chill/fever, vomiting, and they can last up to a few days to weeks. While extreme cases, on the other hand, they include one or more of the mild symptoms, bleeding from the mouth, nose, and or eyes, failure of organs, more specifically kidney, liver, and or heart failure. Extreme cases tend to last for months, or even years, but most of the time they result in death itself, as I said in one of the previous slides. However, the one symptom that is very common with all the cases is it happens to be the hue change of the skin and eye color. Hence the name yellow fever. Whoa, who could have guessed? Isn't that awesome? Now, there's only one last question in mind. Where or what, when, where, why, how, and who discovered yellow fever. During the Spanish-American War, Walter Reed, this is the man that discovered it, and his colleagues were sent out to investigate a matter. The military had started noticing that the soldiers had started dying not just from the enemy team, but from an unknown source. As Walter and his colleagues researched, they eventually found that the cause was for our titular virus, yellow fever. He and his team had begun work on finding a cure to this disease, and his work has inspired more people to research this and find out how to stop it. Good news is that they made a working vaccine in 1937 and is still used today, all thanks to Max Steeler, this guy right here. So yeah, we can thank these two for discovering them. So yeah, round of applause for Mr. Walter, Mr. Max, yay! And now, on to what happened with yellow fever before the Spanish-American War. Because remember how I said in one of the previous slides how yellow fever came about before the 1800s? Well, as I said in the first slide, or rather second if you're not including the intro, yellow fever was a thing before the 1800s, but unlike the 1800s, there was no attempt to cure the disease, and people would rather instead run away from the disease because they didn't know how to deal with it. That would be the Philadelphia epidemic of 1793, a whole 105 years before the Spanish-American War. The epidemic would last for 3 months, with about 11,000 people being infected and 5,000 dead from it. Note that at the time Philadelphia only had 50,000 citizens, so this was a huge outbreak. Yeah, Philadelphia, only 50,000 citizens, isn't that just wild, I should point out. With a lack of treatment and knowledge from nurses, with about 20,000 people fled from the city. That is insane. Like, if we do the math correctly, that would only leave like 14,000 people uninfected left in the city. So, yeah, this was a serious matter. But yet, nothing too big was dealt about it. Oh yes, here is a artistic depiction of the epidemic, in case you're wondering. While all of this was happening, Benjamin Rush, the founder of American medicine, this guy right here, was investigating the matter, and he came up with a treatment for it. The treatment being rapid blood loss and purgation. Now, let's move on to the guessing show. For today's question, did this effect work? Your answers are A, yes it did work and everyone was cured. B, sometimes it did work, sometimes it didn't. C, no, it did not work. The treatment was basically useless. Anyways, but the epidemic did indeed end, eventually, with, still, no one knew where it came from at the time, so... Yeah, pretty crazy, huh? A whole 105 years for them to actually, put in effort to find out what caused it. And now, we've come to the end. It's been like, what, 8 minutes? Something like that? Yeah, not a very long ride. But yeah, here's my conclusion. Yellow fever has made a gigantic impact on society as a whole, and not a lot of people credit it. Without it, modern medicine most likely wouldn't be as good as it is today. Not to mention, when during the research process in the Spanish-American War, the government had started giving hospitals more respect and caring more about the cleanliness of things. Yes, people hate getting sick, but without viruses, our immune system wouldn't be as strong as it is today. So with that, I thank viruses for, making us as strong as we are. I know that sounds bad, but just think about it. Without viruses, like I said, we wouldn't be as, what's the word, like, not really like physically on the outside, but physically on the inside strong. So yeah, we thank you. Thank you, viruses. Oh yeah, and here's some little other facts that I thought maybe you could know. Yellow fever actually has multiple names, those being Yellow Jack, Yellow Plague, and Bronze John. While also, Mayan people back in the 1600s once called it Zekik, which translates to blood vomit. Which makes sense since, well, the bleeding, the vomiting, makes sense. Like other viruses, you cannot get yellow fever twice. Pretty self-explanatory. I mean, most diseases and viruses, most of the time, you can't get it twice, so yeah, I just thought I'd put it in here. The past yellow fever epidemics have been speculated on, thinking that yellow fever spread at a very fast rate of a work week, 5 days. So yeah, yellow fever, it spreads pretty dang fast. Walter Reed and while Walter Reed was on his research, he passed away for peritonitis in 1902. But his dying would not go in vain, as in 1903, Brazilian physicist Oswaldo Cruz did his own research on the virus. With the eradication process Oswaldo was doing with his mosquito inspectors, aka health units, they improved drainage systems to reduce Rio de Janeiro's wetland problem, demolishing unnecessary buildings and reshaping Rio de Janeiro as a whole. And another fact, wetlands and really any bodies of water are mosquito breeding grounds. Just thought I'd let you know. But, yeah, that's it. That's it from my presentation. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to, leave a like, leave a comment, and have a good day, and check out the other stuff that's in the school. That they've done some really cool work too. So yeah, I would really appreciate if I got a 3. Okay, bye now. Have a blended day. Bye.